All right, so I've been getting this question a lot, and the question is, how do I listen like a therapist? If you have a therapist or if you are a therapist yourself, you know that therapists use certain skills and certain psychological things to make you feel like you're being heard, that you're being listened to. What are some of those subtle cues that psychologists and therapists and psychiatrists are using with their patients? And perhaps how can you even potentially use them in your everyday life? Maybe as a salesperson, maybe as a teacher, maybe as another different type of clinician. You can use these skills in whatever area of life that deals with people. And so I'm going to give you 4 things that psychologists typically do to make sure that people feel heard and listened to. The first thing is summarizing their statement. Now, if you've ever talked to someone and they repeat back what you said to them, but they rephrase it or they summarize it in a really distinct way, that is called summarizing someone's statements. Summarizing their words in a way, repeating back to them what they just said. It does make you feel like, wow, this person was listening. They were paying attention. They kind of were able to formulate it and maybe distill it in a way that actually makes a lot more sense. The second thing is open-ended questions. Now, it's really important that if you're going to want someone to feel heard, that you're not just asking yes or no questions. Do you have a job? Yes. Do you work somewhere? Yes. Like, these are yes or no questions. They're very binary questions, and it's really easy to have a very flat conversation from these things. But if you were to ask someone, I've been thinking about what you said. What are some takeaways that you feel like you've had as you've reflected back on some of your circumstances? These are much more open-ended questions, and it gives the person the room and the flexibility to describe how they're feeling and what they're thinking. And so this is really good in terms of helping people feel comfortable around you, helping people feel heard and listen to you by asking those open-ended questions. The next thing is reflective statements. Now, this is different than summarizing. Summarizing is like when someone speaks for like 5 minutes and you distill everything that they just said in like 30 seconds, right? Reflecting is very like sort of one-word sentences, sort of like, wow, yeah, I really feel like that could impact me as well, right? These are reflective statements to let the person know that you're listening, right? That you're really involved and that you're into the conversation. The last thing that I'll mention is affirmative statements. Now, but these are statements that you are actually affirming what that person is going through. If they said that they had a really difficult day, right? You're affirming, wow, yeah, today was really difficult for you. I can only imagine what you had to go through today, right? It's affirming that emotion, affirming whether it's their experience or their feeling or their emotion, to let them know that you're either trying to sympathize or empathize with whatever struggle that they're going through, right? So the S stands for summarizing, O stands for open-ended questions, the A stands for affirmative statements, and the R stands for reflective statements. I will say, you can practice this with your relationships, practice this with people who are your friends, your family members. If you are becoming therapist or psychologist, use some of these skills and see what you get out of it. I will guarantee that people who are on the receiving end of some of these skills will probably feel a little bit more closer to you. They'll feel more heard, they'll feel more listened, and they'll probably be like, wow, that was a really good conversation that I had with you, right? But that honestly anybody can use for any type of career that especially is dealing with interacting with people. So if you want to learn more tips or tricks, you can follow me on all of my socials at Phil's Guide to PsyD, where I break down how to help people get into graduate school, how to become a therapist or a psychologist, and also how to be successful in their early career.